Welcome to episode 60 of the Relationship Marketing Podcast with Cody B. Today's guest is Lynn Howard. An entrepreneur at heart, this cancer survivor turned inspiring business coach has become a shining, supportive beacon for other aspiring industrialists, business professionals, and fledgling startup ventures all over the world. Lynn believes that by helping business owners establish important partnerships and giving the tools to accomplish both their short and long-term goals, she can compel entrepreneurs to become a better leader within their respective communities. She understands that building a strong business goes hand in hand with the growth and stability of the surrounding area, which is why she works to build leaders from the top down. A good leader inspires great citizens, driving businesses and people forward together. Today, Lynn supports hundreds of entrepreneurs looking to dream bigger. By providing them with a customized structure that fits their life and business goals, Lynn has inspired people all over the world to take action, thanks to her unique insight and unrelenting motivation. Lynn believes that empowering others and not discouraging them, she can help people overcome life's challenges through perseverance and willpower. When she isn't spending time with her children or working with entrepreneurs, she enjoys spending her free time doing CrossFit, cooking, and visiting new and exciting places around the world. Above all, Lynn is a lover of life and appreciates every moment. She continues to instill in her children and her clients that when you believe anything is possible, it is. And now, Cody B.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of our Relationship Marketing Weekly Show. We're super excited, as we always are, for the guest that we have on today. I'll tell you, we have incredible guests that come on here, and you know that if you've been listening to past episodes, it's just been such an enlightening experience to have some of these folks come on and share their expertise with us. And boy, we got a special one today. You've already heard her bio and you know a little bit about her, so I'm going to jump right in and welcome Miss Lynn Howard. How are you today?
Good, Cody. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, I'll tell you, we're super excited to have you on. I think you and I met a couple years ago at a B&I event, and you have been very involved with B&I over the years. I believe, have you been an area director or what's your role at B&I?
Absolutely. I was an area director for many years. I was in B&I 10 years and recently had to step down a year ago.
Okay. And so you've taken on new ventures.
Yes.
Done new things. And we've already learned that you have been involved or are now involved with a company called Incentive. And for all of our listeners, let me just kind of recap what Incentive is. Incentive is a franchise business model providing dynamic business consulting services to small businesses. So this is interesting. It's very interesting that business consulting as a franchise. Now you were on the franchise side, so you owned a franchise, and now you're on the corporate side. Is that right?
Correct. I've owned a franchise for 8 years now for the state of Hawaii, 2 franchises technically, but yes. So I helped develop the region that way. And then a year ago, I stepped in as the COO on the headquarter team.
So now that you're the COO, do you still own franchises?
Yes, absolutely. I still own the Hawaii market, the 2 franchises. For the right offer, I might get rid of one. But
well, good. We can talk about that. I mean, we can talk about it. First of all, I'm very intrigued by the whole business model in general. Just tell us a little bit about what Incentive does for its customers.
Sure. If you don't mind, I'd like to back up how we were birthed, because that gives a better idea of kind of our journey. So 18 years ago, we were birthed out of the need for relationship and referral development, training, consulting, or coaching for another company. And so that is a cornerstone of what we do, and something that, even though I don't care for the word, we're quote unquote experts in, is really referral and relationship development. And not just for the sake of a referral, but for the sake of credibility, accountability, sustainability, and impact within one's market or community, if you would. And so what we do today, it's really morphed into so much more. So we are under the entrepreneurial development umbrella, if you would, and we help support like-minded, vision and mission-driven individuals in working on their business, working on their life. It's very personal as much as it is business. And we do that through a few different ways: coaching, consulting, training, mastermind communities. But we really help people in interpersonal relationship skills as well. So those soft skills that not everybody pays attention to, but definitely take a different approach. And you being with Send Out Cards, like, you took a very different approach with the way that you do your business and engage individuals. We do the same, but on a coaching or consulting or training level. We teach people about relationships differently, about themselves and about their business differently than what they learn other places.
So a lot of our listeners are familiar with BNI. Many of our listeners are members of BNI local chapters. So they're very familiar with the founder, Ivan Meisner. They're very familiar with my relationship and my companies, several companies that I own. We have direct relationship with BNI, and Ivan's a dear friend of mine, a mentor of mine, as I'm sure he is for you as well. And so here's the question I have. So he's the founder of BNI, and he's also a co-founder of this company, Incentive. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my first question is, I'm listening to you explain Incentive, and you provide education, and you help people with relationship building and referral generation and whatnot. My first natural question is, so isn't that what BNI does? I mean, doesn't BNI do that? Like, what's the difference between what BNI does for me? Because I can join a BNI and go learn a lot of the stuff you said. So what's the difference between that and taking on your services from Incentive?
BNI is a playing field in which you can utilize the services that we train you or coach you or consult you on to utilize it in, but you can also use it in chamber and other regions or other networks. So really the biggest difference between BNI and Incentive is, yes, we're in the coaching, consulting, and development field, which technically BNI is not. They're in the network organization field. So they have chapters all over the world, and their sole purpose is to pass business with one another. We help entrepreneurs in the whole journey of entrepreneurial through coaching, consulting. That is what we do for a living: training, coaching, consulting. It's not developing groups so that way they can pass business amongst one another. There are a lot of BNI members. And in fact, we have some that are master franchisee owners that also own regions for BNI as well. And they go well with the level of BNI member who is ready to really work on their business and be proactive, versus the majority of the clientele base. They really are about they're joining BNI to pass business to one another. That's not, we teach you how to play the game. You can play it a lot better. Our members or our people, our clients who are members of BNI play BNI or utilize BNI a lot better and a lot smarter than those that haven't went through the trainings and certifications.
So let's go
but
through
they complement each other.
Let's go through a scenario. So let's take one of your franchises. You say you have one in Hawaii, right?
Correct.
Okay. So let's take a franchise in Hawaii. I want you to just think about a customer that you had in Hawaii. Well, let me ask you first, do you have a customer for Incentive in Hawaii that's also a BNI member?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just think of an example of one of your Incentive customers who's also BNI member, and what kind of business are they in?
The particular person I'm thinking of is in real estate, but they also, her and her husband own a contracting company.
Okay, great.
Custom contracting company.
So husband, wife couple, they own a real estate business and a construction business?
She is a realtor. But they started one of the chapters, and they started with the custom construction company that they have. And then when the realtor seat came open, she went into real estate.
Okay, so there's two seats they have. One's a realtor seat and one's a contracting seat.
Now they just have the realtor seat.
Okay, so let's take that example. That they have a realtor seat in a chapter of BNI, and so they go and they do everything you do in BNI. And again, a lot of our listeners know exactly what that is. And they've also joined, or they also paid for your services at Ascentive. So walk me through a little bit of what you do for that realtor.
Okay. So I help keep them accountable on because they have a team of people, obviously, with a construction company that they do, that they have to be responsible for to get business, etc. So I help them with their structure of their meetings, with what is going on in their marketing side, with what is also going on in their new hire process, and the engagement of their employees. I also help them with how they communicate with their clientele, and as also goal setting and accountability through that. I personally am known for a little bit more tougher love, I would say, and more accountability. That's just my own personal attributes, I would say. So I definitely keep them on schedule with what they're supposed to be doing, when they're supposed to be doing it, as far as quarterly employee meetings, their employee reviews, what if they're going out there and actually meeting new people, building the relationships, how are you calls, etc. And then on the real estate side, when she was going through the process, helping her stay on schedule to make sure that she's getting her real estate license. And then since about 1.5 years ago, she got her broker's license as well. So really helping her plan that out, because they have 2 young girls. But then how are they utilizing their network appropriately? Where to utilize their network and when, for what, how to support that, how to increase credibility and visibility. So all of that is what I help them with. As far as her being in BNI, she is a top producer. She's brought in probably the most, it's been 1 year since I've been in BNI, but she was bringing in the most visitors who converted into BNI clients. She had the highest closed thank you dollars as well. And her referrals were by far the highest quality in the chapter. And she got a few awards on that. So that's how it stemmed into BNI for her.
Excellent. So you get a lot of results for your clients. And this is very interesting. It's very interesting. And it sounds like you're very, very turnkey with what you offer and it sounds like there's a lot of personal coaching, return and report, accountabilities, things that you do from that standpoint, which is great. I mean, I know a lot of our listeners, so many small business owners have such a huge need for this type of service. A lot of people, here's what's interesting. A lot of people, first of all, they either think they know what to do, but they really don't.
Yes.
Or they know what to do, but they don't do it. Mm-hmm. Or they know what to do and they strive to do it, but they don't reach the level that they could or should. And so I see a service like yours, just the sheer nature of, you said tough love, return and report, accountabilities, creating
it's also
habits.
Time worth value, like what is your time worth value, and the understanding of, if what you're doing, exactly what you said, if what you're doing is succinct to what the end result is, or are you getting caught in complacency or getting caught in the weeds or getting distracted by patterns? Something that we're really, really known for in Ascentive is what we call your ECC, helping people with their emotionally charged connection, which is the root of your why. It is part of your why, but it's the root. Like, where did that derive from? How do you utilize that? How does it drive you? How does it hold you back, etc.? And at the end of the day, all of this encompasses a better, well-rounded individual who feels supported, that is vision and mission driven, that can go out there and work on their business versus in their business. And the first year that I owned Ascentive, I was reactive and active, I would say, in my prospecting. How I got my first year of clients was a direct result of what I implemented into my current business that I had at that time, which I just sold last year. But I changed it completely and increased my profit margin, but decreased my hours by half the amount in 2 months that I was working, and increased my profit margins. And so there's many different things that Ascentive, as we do as a support, as coaches, as trainers, as consultants, as all of the above. But at the end of the day, everybody needs somebody to be that 360 view, to be around watching what's going on and be able to give an unbiased kind of direction or ask the right questions to get that person to find the solution, which is the coaching way, to find the solution within themselves, or in a consulting way, tell them what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. So that way they get out of their own head. But each person's needs are very different. And that's what we do for clients globally. I mean, we're in 26 different countries, so we must be doing something right.
Well, yeah, for sure. I love the service. I love what it stands for. I mean, you know, a lot of my mentors have taught me the importance of having coaches in your life. I know Ivan's a big fan of having coaches, and he has lots of personal coaches and mentors in his life. The guy that wrote How to Swim with the Sharks, Harvey McKay talks a lot about that guy's got a coach for everything. Like I was listening to a speech one, he's got like 26 coaches, like some crazy amount.
Take a look at like true professional players in whatever profession it is. Football, for example, since the Super Bowl was yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, you take a look at them and they will have multiple coaches to excel at their own craft. And it might be something for endurance, something for their own position, whatever it is. They might have a life coach as well, or whatever, but they have multiple coaches in order to get them where they are, because we're so multidimensional. There's never just one fit, and to have different people who are aligned with you, who have the bigger picture, and who are able to guide you in that way, it will only result in profound results, right? As long as you're doing the work, because at the end of the day, no matter how many coaches or consultants you have around you or mentors, if you're not putting forth the action, then you might manifest some stuff, but really you're not creating the momentum and the things that you could be doing.
Yeah, that's really good. So obviously, this is a relationship marketing show. We talk a lot about generating genuine relationship in your personal life and in your business. It's all about the power of human connection, genuine connection, and tying to human beings, one human being to another in business and personal life. So how do you teach or coach or mentor your clients to build relationship? What do you teach them to do?
Well, there's many things, many things. But I would say where I would start was something I mentioned earlier, is we start with the ECC, the emotionally charged connection. The more aware that we are of ourselves, the more that we have the ability to be aware of other people and connect with them differently. You know, business in old school ways, and even in some organizations, like, it's very, even though it's supposed to be relationship based, it can be very transactional and what's in it for me type of thing. But with the ECC, or emotionally charged connection, we help people strip down to, like, okay, who am I truly, and who do I really want to attract? And then have conversations based on personal likes or personal interests. I mean, this is the simple way, but to not necessarily come straight out and say, I need a referral, or I want this from you, or to just go through the mechanics, and in the back of your mind, you're not listening to hear. So a lot of times I go to networking events all the time, in and outside of BNI and other places. And so many people listen to respond versus listen to really hear and make a connection. And it's part of Ascentive, but it's always been a core belief of who I am as well. So just really, I mean, we teach them more about that. So listening to connect versus listening to respond, like, and training their network how to listen to connect, right? So if you hear somebody that you're having a conversation with that might feel aligned to me, hopefully I've given you some nuggets and you can actually introduce them in a personal way versus you need to do business with Lynn. And so really kind of stripping back all of the bright, shiny, and the titles and this and that, which I know certain behavioral styles really like, but just getting down to how can we be human? How can we have a conversation? How can we actually connect with somebody even when we're in a very straight-laced business meeting? But it's not just all about business. I mean, with Ascentive, we also teach, on your personal life too, because everything affects one another. Your personal life, your business life, your financial, your spiritual, everything the ripple effects through. But that would be the start of, I would say, an incentive. A core offering of what we do is really help people recognize that. We also talk a lot about knocking ourselves off the pedestal. Even if we didn't put ourselves up there, other people might. And so to really be able to have a true connection with somebody in conversation, sometimes we have to knock ourselves off the pedestal for them, because they might have put us up there. And that's just to let them see behind the curtains, let them see us as, you know, humans or vulnerable or whatever the situation applies, you know, allows for. So
kind of funny when you say that. It's real easy for me to knock myself off the pedestal. All I got to do is talk for about 10 seconds, and it's like, oh yeah, well he's just a crazy kid, just like all the rest of us. So, and you know what? That's the truth. I mean, we're all, regardless of our accomplishment, we're all just people. All
Absolutely.
of us, no matter what, we're all just people, and we all have a desire to make connection. We all have a desire to love and be loved. It's pretty simple. I mean, it really is pretty simple in creating relationship. And you chimed in on some key things, you know, learn about the person, know about their likes, dislikes, interests, things of that nature. I know is interesting is Super Bowl had a commercial, Google. It was a Google commercial.
That was my favorite one. It made me cry.
Wasn't that cool?
It was my favorite commercial, and it brought tears to my eyes, and they played it again afterwards, and it had the same reaction. I had the same reaction.
So that commercial really kind of depicts what both you and I are talking about. It's caring enough to make sure you capture in one place everything you can about a loved one or somebody else. And in this example, it was an older couple, husband, wife. He says, "Hey, Google, find all my pictures of my wife and I," and all their pictures show up. And then he says, you know, "My wife's favorite flower is bloom. Can you remember that?" "Yes, I'll remember it." But the reason that was so appealing to me is that my company is actually working on technology similar to that, to where it makes it easier and easier for you to capture everything you possibly can about somebody that you meet, so that when it comes time to send them a card or call them on the phone or whatever, you have a picture of them right there. You have interests, like they love to play golf or whatever, is right there. You have their spouse's name and kids' names right there. You have a birth date right there. Everything's there. It's right there, which makes it so that you can be more personable and create that connection. And we're very, very excited to work on those technologies. And so it was kind of crazy seeing Google come out with that, and we're working on the same thing. They got a lot more money to work on that stuff than we do, but
they do. You know what's crazy about that is that that's what we do on a training. One of the parts of what we do in our training level is to like break down the walls to the bare minimums and find out, okay, where can you connect? First, we have to connect with ourselves. And it's funny that I'm sitting here talking to you, because not just myself, but a lot of our ascensive individuals plug in, send out cards right here and say, listen, once you have all of the information, you plug it in to send out cards, and you have that where you can actually make the postcard their favorite color or whatever it is, and have that all ready. And that's also a relationship building tool, as you know, to have those how are you cards or whatnot go through. But that's funny that you're saying that particular part, because that's exactly where we all plug in, send out cards in our training when we're doing our one core offering training, the Ascentive Pro. So
excellent. Yeah. We are listening to Lynn Howard. She is the Chief Operational Officer at Ascentive on the franchisor side. She's also a franchise owner, owns a couple of franchises in different states. Ascentive is a dynamic business consulting company that provides incredible services, turnkey services, personal coaching. So we appreciate, Lynn, having you with us today. I always like to close out our show by just giving you the floor. You've been kind of put in a box here where you just answer my questions, and I always like to end by just opening it up and anything. It's freestyle time for you. Anything that you would like to share or feel that would be beneficial to our customers. And first of all, before we do that, because that's how I'd like to close. If you'd like to find out more, you can go to ascentive.com. Now, I want to make sure I spell this right for our listeners. ASENTIVE. Is that right?
No E. No E.
No E. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it's ASENTIV.com. Go to ascentive.com to learn more about these amazing services. Again, everybody should have coaches, multiple coaches, people that hold you accountable. Ascentive is a franchise-based, a lot of been there, done that people have formulated it. It's in a duplicatable system that the Ascentive franchisees use. And so highly recommend that if you're in need for a business coach, this is a place where you can ensure that what you're going to get is real, it's beneficial, and it gets results. So Ascentive, ASENTIV.com, go check it out. There you'll probably be able to find out more about Lynn and what she does. Again, we appreciate so much having you on with us today, Lynn. So now the floor is yours to close out the show. Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, I have two things. One additional thing that I wanted to add to what we do also, and this is something that I think is beneficial to anybody, is to really, through our processes, but also something I believe in, is when we can see people for who they truly are and not what we want them to be or what the conditions are, but we all have good, bad, and indifferences within us. And if we can actually see that within ourselves and see that in other people, it helps us connect with people on a different level, because we're not expecting them to do X, or we are expecting to do X, and not giving them the opportunity to be able to really get down to a relationship. So really I guess what I would say to your listeners is take a look at where you can see people in multidimensional, because a lot of times we'll label, we'll circumstance, we'll do all of these things, and we put these people in a box when none of us deserve to be in a box. And your company definitely supports that way. Like we need to do that in order to be able to connect differently. But the second thing is I'll leave with, we never know our ripple effect. We never know that the effect, and this is why when Bart asked me, I said, absolutely yes, because I believe in what you do. I love your story, your vision and mission driven. You're very much, it feels, I'm a high value person in the values that you have and that you've created with the company, and the way that you approach and with your story. It's very touching and moving to me as well as other people. But at the end of the day, we just never know. We never know our ripple effect. And to utilize a service such as yours or ours or whoever, as long as you're doing something to make an impact, you don't know how far that positive impact is ever going to go. And you don't know what the results are going to be of that. So if you can just start today with something simple that is leaving a bigger impact, to reach out to somebody via a send out card or a call or both, that you just don't know how that can change somebody's life, or even in the big scheme of things, save somebody's life. So that's definitely something that I'd love to leave your listeners with.
Well, thank you very much. You've been listening to Lin Howard, COO of Ascentive. Appreciate your golden nuggets today. It's been a delight to have you on this show, and best of success to you.
Thank you.
Appreciate all you're doing out there to make the world a better place and to help people connect with each other in a more genuine way. So there you have it, everybody. This is, we're going to sign off here of our relationship marketing show. Just remember, we're out there to serve our fellow human beings, make connection with people, care about them, genuinely care about other people. Don't be too worried about what you're going to gain out of any relationship. Just be focused on what you can give to the relationship. And that's what we're about. That's what Lynn is about. And we just appreciate people coming on and sharing that message each and every week. So take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Enjoyed this episode of the Relationship Marketing Podcast with Cody B, be sure to subscribe to the show and leave a review so that together we can get this message, The Power of Human Connection, out to the world. You can find Cody's new book, The Power of Human Connection, on Amazon or the Send Out Cards gift store.